What's good, everybody? It's Joe, and I'll come back at you another video. So for this video, this one is gonna be short and sweet. This one is more thought provoking, well, as all my videos are, but this one is mostly just proposing a question for you to reflect on your own life. And this question is: do you react or do you respond to life? Now, when I say this, I'm mostly thinking about situations that don't seem desirable, right? Like moments in time where, let's just say, you're at a crossroads, right? Or you get some sort of quote unquote bad news. It's like, how do you operate in a situation like that? 99.9% of people have been trained to react. And that is essentially just operating impulsively, where they'll just immediately get angry, frustrated, just they're feeling guilt, concern, worry, like any negative emotion you could think, that's what immediately consumes them. And a lot of times that bad news is what clouds their mind and their judgment, right? And it's what's on their mind the entire time. And the interesting part about it is we've all experienced situations where we receive some sort of bad news and that's all we could think about. And we're so worried that we're not eating, that we can't think straight, that we're just unhappy, like we're just so like out of place, out of sync. And whether it's a couple hours, couple days, couple weeks, like somehow, some way, it resolves itself, and either we didn't have to do anything, or it only required a little bit of action, and it ended up being resolved on its own. And you sort of look back at it and kind of, think about yourself as this was silly for you to have been so concerned the entire time, right? It's happened to everyone, where in most cases it might be something that you're just super worried about, and then a couple of days go by and it handles itself on its own. But all those days you spent being unhappy, being worried, being concerned, when it ended up handling itself. So I say this because I asked this question for a number of reasons, right? Another reason I propose this question is because I've literally had people say that they can't control themselves, that they can't control their emotions. And for me, I'd like to think that it could be possible that there are some people out there who for some reason can't. But for most people who say that to be the case, I find it to just be a coping mechanism, right? Just an excuse that they give just to try to justify them being frustrated or just having these outbursts, right? When in actuality, the person that is truly powerful is the one that's able to respond to life, right? It's a person who can be at their job, for an example, right? They can be at their job and then they receive an email that certainly appears to be bad news, right? And they'll look at that email and say, you know what? I don't know how. I don't have any clue how, but this email may not be a bad thing. Somehow, some way, everything's gonna work itself out. Somehow, some way, everything's gonna be taken care of. Don't know how, don't have any evidence whatsoever that's telling me that, but I got a feeling that everything's gonna be taken care of. That's the person that knows how to respond to life. That's the person that's able to see what's going on, right? Being able to take a deep breath, take a step back, evaluate the situation and say, what is it that I want out of this situation? What is my most desired outcome? What would I want to gain out of this? Right? The person that responds to life is able to say, you know what? Somehow, someway, everything's going to work itself out for me. Because that's the person that's able to control themselves, that understands that their external world is just a reflection of what's happening inside. This was happening inside. How many of us, and this happened to everybody, right? How many of us have experienced a day where it just feels like we can't catch a break? Where we sleep past our alarm and we're late for work or for school, then we stub our toe on our bed, and then while we're rushing to leave the house, we run, and then you may try to grab a drink, whether it's a coffee, something, and then the coffee somehow, some way magically spills on you, and then you're running to catch the bus or the train, and then as soon as you get there, you pretty much miss the bus or the train, and then it just feels like throughout the day, hour after hour, it just feels like you cannot catch a break. That's because you're continuously reacting, because things aren't going well for you, and so the frustration is built up. And so when you're frustrated, when you're angry, you're attracting more people, events, and circumstances that have you continue feeling that same way. So that's why some days people have experienced essentially like those days where it was bad luck, or they just felt that they just couldn't catch a break. That's because bad events keep, quote unquote, bad events keep happening to you, and you're frustrated and angry, so it keeps bringing in more bad events to reflect your feeling, rather than the moment you overslept from your alarm. If you had just taken a deep breath and told yourself everything's gonna be fine, and just try to put yourself in a better spot, in a better emotional state, right? Responding to life and say, you know what, I may be a little late, but I think the rest of the day is gonna be fine. That would completely change the entire trajectory of your day compared to that one person that's angry, frustrated, and feels as though they can't catch a break, because every single bad event that's happening to them is going to continuously make them frustrated and continue building on the idea that they have bad luck, right? If you're thinking the whole time you're angry, frustrated, and that today's a bad day and you have bad luck, and then more bad things keep happening to you, then you have more and more evidence of that continuously happening to you. So you're going to believe that you're having a bad day or you're unlucky. The powerful person is the person that's more stoic. Either that they're stoic when things happen and they're able to take a deep breath, or they're able to just react, or someone that's just happy, positive, optimistic, and say, you know what, it doesn't matter. Things are gonna work itself out. Things are gonna be fine. I don't know how things are gonna align, but somehow, some way they will. And it's gonna be interesting and funny to me to see how it all happens. So sorry about the dog barking. So that's the question that I have for you guys. Do you react or do you respond to life? If you're someone who's been trained and conditioned to react to life, highly recommend you begin taking some time, take a deep breath. When things flow into your life, events, moments flow into your life, and they appear to be bad or appear to be undesirable, take a step back and say, you know what? Somehow, some way, things are going to work out. Somehow, some way, something good is going to come from this. Even if you don't have any evidence of it right now, everything will be fine. If you begin training yourself to respond to life, life becomes magical, because then you're able to maintain your own power, which is you being in control of yourself. If the outside world keeps frustrating you, then the outside world has control over you. That means you don't have control over yourself. If you learn to respond to life, if you learn to respond to your outside world, to your external circumstances, then you'll come to the realization that you're the one in control, that you have the power, and that none of these circumstances, nothing that's happening outside of you will ever have power over you. So that's the video of understanding the difference between reacting and responding to life. And hopefully you take time to reflect on your own life, to begin responding to life from now on, so that you can live a more happy and fulfilling life from here on out. So once again, guys, this is the end of the video. This is Joel, and I'm out. See you guys for the next video.